Reminder, we'll be at 841 Brewhouse in Whitewater next Thursday evening for our edition of the Quarterback Club and Coaches Show. So hope you'll join us at 841 Brewhouse, formerly Randy's in Whitewater. Head coach Kevin Bullis is rejoining us this evening. And Kevin, we're taking some questions from the crowd here this evening. And the first question that has been submitted to us is one that was from one of our audience members tonight. They've seen two different place kickers in the last few games that we've had. How do you decide on the kicking situation as far as the game situation is concerned?
Boy, that's a great question, because there's really a lot of things that play into that. First of all, when we go into a game, we have competition with our kickers, and they will compete during the course of a week to see who's going to kick in the game. So that's one way that we'll decide who's going to be, which is pretty simplistic. But then there's also the other things that we'll take into mind. For example, Lake Backer was here with us tonight, and Lake's got an amazing leg. I mean, people would tell you he's got an NFL strength leg in the sense of the power that he can punt a ball. And punting is his strength area. But he is the guy that if we need to make a 52-yard field goal, Lake's the guy that's going to go out there. And he's got the power to go do something like that. But then if we need a 25-yard field goal, a 30-yard field goal, Ben Franzen's been that guy. Why? Because Ben has been more consistent with his accuracy, where Lake at times not as consistent with his accuracy. So that'll play into it. But it will also play into situations where we do things where, let's say the clock's running down and we don't have a timeout left, and there's only 15 seconds and we got to go get a field goal off. Lake's the guy that will actually do that. Why? Because Ben's in his freshman year, Lake's a veteran, he's been in that scenario before, so I mean, that's a great question.
And Lake has also been doing some holding for you as well this year.
Lake does it all. In fact, after a couple of hits that he had last season, especially in that national championship game, I thought about defensive end, but Coach O'Grady was not agreeing with me, so I'll stick with what Coach O says.
Lake, by the way, is a great Division III athlete, because he was very strong in the baseball team last year, too, pitching.
He is an all-around athlete.
He really is.
Question.
One other question, it's kind of a two-parter that's been submitted by someone from our audience tonight. Part one is, what is the key to controlling the Platteville passing game? And the other part of it is, does having their former defensive coordinator, Rob Erickson, on staff help you prepare for the Pioneers this weekend?
Not a question. I mean, Rob, whether Rob had come from Platteville or not, Rob's a great D coordinator in the sense that he understands the schemes. He understands what offenses are trying to do. It's kind of like, I don't know, I'm a history guy, so I like to use quotes sometimes. There's a Sun Tzu quote that says, if you know yourself and you know your enemy, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. And what that means is a person who researches others, understands others, why people attack you in this manner. So how is an offense going to attack different coverages? How they're going to attack your front in the run game? Rob's a guy that understands that. He understands that premise that to be able to be a better defensive coordinator, he needs to understand offenses and why they do the things they do. Now, no doubt, is there an advantage that he came from Platteville? Most certainly. I mean, he has a close understanding of Mike Emmendorfer. But on the other end of it, either way, I'm excited about Rob, because he's the type of guy that does that research and gathers information in preparation for it. To answer your question regarding the passing attack piece, really the key to the game, and with any passing attack, whether it's Platteville or Oshkosh or any team that throws the football, the key is really to not allow the quarterback to get comfortable. And that sounds very simplistic, but that's in all reality what you're trying to do. So what does that mean? That means your defensive line being able to put pressure and be disruptive. Your linebackers and your safeties being able to disguise coverages so the quarterback's not able to assume his reads prior to the snap and even post-snap. Those are the types of things where if you can make a quarterback uncomfortable and that he's making a poor decision with what he's seen in the coverages, that's going to be the key thing for us on Saturday, is that their quarterback does not get comfortable with seeing what we're doing.
Speaking of the game on Saturday, and it's something that former coach Bob Rezowitz put together several years ago. It's the George Crisp Memorial Bowl, and that's always something very special. You don't get a lot of trophy games on the D3 level, but this is a very nice one, isn't it? It's really neat. You know, our trophy, you know, Coach Brezowitz and Coach Crisp are very old. We're close old friends. And I was very fortunate as a young coach. When I was at UW River Falls, I had a chance to meet Coach Crisp several times. And Coach Crisp, he epitomized, I think, and represents everything that what you think of when you think of a stereotypical, just great, grounded coach at the Division III level, and George represents that, and obviously that's something he's passed on to his sons, Paul and Jeep. I mean, they're in the profession, and so it's really neat for me, even personally, for this game to be played and to compete for the Axe. And right now we got a really nice place in the student athletic complex for the Axe, and it needs to stay there. Absolutely, that's right.
Kevin, you and your team are coming off a very impressive win last week, but Platteville beat 2 teams out of a strong Iowa conference, and then their last game 2 weeks ago, they beat North Central, who was ranked 13th at the time, rallied to beat them in overtime. So it goes without saying they're pretty battle-tested as well.
Oh, not a question. And that's what, to me, really builds the energy for this game, is that you have a team that, one, we've had some great games in recent history against each other. 2, we're both coming out of very good games, very competitive games, very challenging games where we were both behind and came back, and we're both teams going into this game very confidently. So to me, it's got nothing but the remedy to be an amazing game on Saturday. And they're a great team, and they beat a great team in North Central, who's a perennial power.
It's interesting because we've talked about this with the way the schedule has its ins and outs, ups and downs, but you've got a real 1-2 punch coming up here to start conference play. And in some years, you've had a chance as a team to ramp up a little bit, maybe playing some of the teams in the lower half of the league. But boy, you get the top teams right away, and kind of snaps them into focus, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, and that's the thing. I mean, the thing that's really neat is it's really interesting. The players are all excited about getting fall camp started and having that first practice on August 21st. And then suddenly they're getting like, wow, when are we going to play a game? So they're all excited about that first game, and that was Bellhaven. But then you get to a point where you really are excited to get your conference season started, because that's really where it is the true indicator of what we are as a team and what type of team are we going to be this year. And that really starts this weekend when we get into the WIAC. And yeah, there was no doubt we have Platteville and Oshkosh here at the beginning of the conference season. But even then, the conference is so dang tough. Every one of those games, you better not take any one of them for granted.
Looking at Platteville's team a little closer, their quarterback named Tom Kelly, and that sounds familiar because his brother John was a pretty accomplished quarterback in the UW-Platteville system. And then the receiving core that Tom Kelly gets to throw to, Mike Emmendorfer, the coach at Platteville, told me was the deepest one he's had in his tenure. You talked about trying to keep the quarterback uncomfortable, but then you got to try and cover all those receivers too. That should be a pretty big challenge for your defense.
Oh, not a question. They got some real tall guys, some real talented guys, and Coach Emmendorfer does an amazing job of stretching you horizontally and vertically as a passing coach, and in the sense of his passing mind is amazing. The biggest thing, like I said, is for us is he'll be able to teach Tom Kelly a lot of things. The biggest thing is we just can't allow Tom Kelly to be comfortable back there. No matter how much he teaches him, it still comes down to what can we do to put Tom at unease out there on the field.
All right, should be fun. Again, kickoff is at 1:05. We'll have the broadcast for you on Cool 106.5 starting at 12:40 on Saturday afternoon. Kevin, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck this weekend as we kick off the conference season against Platteville.
We'll see you Saturday.
like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Quick reminder, we'll be at the 841 Brew House next Thursday night. Social hour begins at 6, and our program on the air on Cool 106.5 starts at 7 o'clock. Hope to see everyone out at Perkins Stadium this weekend. Thank you for joining us here on Cool 106.5 and online at 940WFAW.com.